Hello everybody, this is Purge bringing you guys a first-person replay commentary. I don't know if I cut off my intro there or not, but I pressed the button and it took a second, and maybe I missed it, I don't know. Anyways, this is a Luna game. I haven't played Luna for a VOD in probably about 2 years. I think it's actually something obscenely ridiculous like that. Whenever I just didn't make that much of an effort to play the hero, and I'm sorry it took so long, but I got a good one this morning, and it'll give me lots of points to talk about Luna. And in addition, I actually saw Luna being played in a pro game just a couple days ago. Actually, yesterday, I believe. It was Cloud9 versus Ninjas in Pajamas. Ninjas in Pajamas picked it for Era. Those are two pro teams, if you guys aren't familiar. And I got to see a little bit more refinement of Luna. It's, to be honest, Luna's pretty much exactly the same as she always has been. Her build hasn't changed. Her playstyle hasn't changed. She's still a very strong hero, and she's very good at what she does. But she's kind of unique in the way that the hero operates, to be honest. I guess there are a lot of heroes that are kind of similar. Her strengths rely on AoE physical damage, fast farming, and her ultimate is it's a good teamfight ultimate, but it's also a ganking tool. It's basically a high damage magic nuke and good teamfight ultimate. It's not as good as so in a lot of ways Luna is kind of similar to Medusa. Medusa has AoE physical damage, she has a teamfight ultimate, but Luna has way more physical target potential using her ultimate, and yeah, I think Luna does a lot more single target damage by far, unless you're talking about when a Medusa ultis somebody successfully and then they take bonus damage. So, but in most cases, Luna's a lot stronger in lane. She has a lot more lane contribution. She's better at early pushing. She needs less items to do decent things. I think she's not as vulnerable in a lot of ways. Like Medusa, the problem with Medusa is really tanky, but she doesn't deal that much damage. Luna is more of an alternate of that. It's like Luna does high damage, but her HP is low, and that's important to remember because, like, killing somebody that's ganking you is either you get to safety of your tower or you beat them in a 1v1. And Medusa can't really do that. Medusa's like, I have to ulti, for example. Luna can actually just kill somebody. She can be like, oh, well, if I don't win this fight, I'm dead. So a lot of the time she can just kill him. So it's why the heroes are similar and different. But Luna is it's pretty much a rare pick, but it is sometimes picked because the hero is decent. So benefits of the hero: super high movement speed, 330 movement speed. I believe Luna's the fastest hero in the game. There might not be anybody faster. I think she's #1, maybe Chaos Knight, but she's way up there. Like I don't even have boots yet, and I'm running almost as fast. I'm running faster than a Crystal Maiden actually runs, I believe. Now CM is 285 with boots, goes like 335, I think. So she's almost as fast as a Crystal Maiden that has boots. So Luna is really fast. Her agility gains really high, 2.8, her int gains 1.85, and her strength gains 1.9. So not very good strength gain, her HP is pretty low. She only has a mini stun, it's a 0.6 second stun. So she's a bit weak into the late game. Now I've got Lunar Blessing here. Well, I have to cover my Lich. Oh, that stun actually missed. I didn't realize that. I told him to fight the Pudge now. If he actually hit a stun there, he might have gotten a kill, but still probably would have happened because it was a 0.7. Level 1 or Spirit Stun's like 0.75 seconds. It's not very high. It does damage, I guess. But anyways, that was pretty good. We got a kill, and that's one of the benefits of Luna, was that her aura does plus 14 damage to you and allies. So if I'm in a dual lane with a ranged hero, Luna's actually a really strong hero, and I think Lich is a perfect example of a hero to dual lane with Luna. It's really good, and the reason is because Lich just has a really solid right click. Oh, I should have attacked a little bit earlier there. That was a mistake by me. It's gonna live with like 40 HP. I have to worry about the hero now. That was a really good stun from Earth Spirit there. It actually did save Pudge. I would have killed him with the Lucent Beam. Like, look how, I mean, obviously we're against 2 melee heroes, but it's 2 melee heroes and we have 2 ranged, and it's a Lich. Like, Lich is just a really safe dual lane support. And she's ranged, Lich is ranged, and Lich has a really good attack as well. Alright, this is a super big mess up. I was trying to abuse Ring of Regen by selling it. Like holding it for a couple seconds and then selling it. So I picked it up, but I forgot that I had a Ring of Protection. I couldn't sell it at this point for full, so I had to sell it for half. That was really unfortunate. I lost half of my gold. So I actually made a pretty big mistake there. I don't have very many CS either, but there's been a lot of fighting, so that's part of the reason. Pudge has died twice now. We have not killed our Spirit. We probably should have got a couple more kills, but it didn't quite go perfectly. And I was trying to do a side pull here, but that wasn't there. So my start in terms of last hitting was terrible, but that's due to there being a lot of fighting going on. But yeah, if you're playing Luna, I really recommend a dual lane of like a Lich or a lion would be pretty good as well. But Lich is just good, I feel, because his slow lasts for a long time. I'm gonna check on that for a second. It's 4 seconds. It's a pretty big disable for level 1 in terms of chasing. And in combination with Luna, this works out really nice because you're talking about a lot of right clicks that end up doing a lot of damage, since we do get plus 14 damage on the aura. So that part's pretty cool. That's one of the big benefits that Luna gives you. It should give you better lane control. And in a tri-lane versus tri-lane situation, Luna's really strong because your tri-lane supports end up doing more damage. So normally I recommend getting a fast ring of Basilius here, but considering I'm against kind of a scary dual lane, and especially a Purge one, I opted to get a Belt of Giant Strength first, just to increase my HP by a bit. I wanted to make sure that I had more HP when I did end up in a little bit of a fight. I did pretty good last hitting here under tower. I got 3 out of 4 of those. I was happy with those. Yeah, Treads is a pretty common pickup on Luna. Yeah, a lot of times I really shifted over here to make sure that the Lich wasn't going to die. If needed, I was going to mini stun him there. It's one of the downsides of a dual lane is that you do have to deal with heroes like that a lot. Luna's pretty good against, I wouldn't maybe say Axe, but she's okay against Axe. If you do get dual aggressive dual laned, if you do like a Luna with a Lich against an Axe, you can definitely beat him in lane. Because you've got a ranged nuke, you have a semi-ranged attack, not amazing, you'll probably take spins, but having the Lich there as well is really helpful. I got hooked here, so now I'm going to have to fight the Purge. That was really close. But they actually, I mean, by them landing a hook there, things were in a pretty good spot, but because I didn't panic, things went okay. That's another really important thing when you're playing Luna. Attacking people is really important. A lot of people, when they get gone on, they panic and they say, oh, the only solution is me running. But a lot of the times, especially for Luna, when, I mean, I did have a boots advantage, there was a good chance that I could have just ran away from the Purge to the right, but instead I opted for fighting. And it barely worked out in our favor. If we didn't have the gold advantage from the earlier fights, it wouldn't have gone so well. So that went pretty well for us. That gives me treads. I'm going to buy an extra stack of tangos because I'm really far away from being able to afford any regen, like a Mask of Death or a Helm of Iron Will or something like that. Usually you get by with HP regen on Luna by getting lifesteal. So I said, it's a really long time until I'm going to be able to pick those items up. I'm just going to opt to get a treads here, and I'll TP back to lane so that I can continue farming immediately. And again, we have another big slow, and Pudge should be dead here. Cancel my animation here, that was a pretty mistake. I didn't actually mean to attack there, that was the mistake. I wanted to do the Loosen Beam because I knew that it'd guarantee a kill, but I messed up for some reason. It like auto-attacked on him, so it ended up not getting a kill because he was able to set suicide afterwards, so that sucked. My skill build here is definitely arguably bad. The reason that I did this extra point here at level 4, the problem with it is that it pushes the lane pretty much. Every single attack I do does 35% cleave to one other creep, which is a bad thing, but I should have gotten both of those last hits there. But the benefit is that by the time you're level 11, you're going to have 4 points in Moonglaive and 4 points in Lucent Beam. And going from level 11 to level 12 is a huge amount of experience, so by getting 1 point in Moonglaive here, it does result in me pushing my lane a little bit more than normal, but the important part is that my Moonglaive is maxed out a bit faster. And the reason I really want to do that, not just because of the experience, is because it doubles in effectiveness between level 3 and level 4. You go from 3 bounces to 6 bounces, so it guarantees that you can jungle faster and things like that. So if I do end up clearing ancient stacks or jungling when I'm level 10 or level 11, then I will have 4 levels of Moonglaive instead of having to wait till level 12. The difference between level 10 it being maxed out and level 12 it being maxed out is a huge, huge farming difference. So that's why I opted to get 1 point here, and it does push my lane, but it's not a huge amount that it pushes my lane. So it's something that I can manage. Again, my last hits are a little bit low, but I have been fighting a lot, so it's not too surprising here. Ring of Basilius is really recommended. Your armor is a little low. Gives you 6 damage, gives you armor to push towers, and most importantly gives you some mana trickle. Luna does need a little bit of mana to trickle in due to the fact of her casting Lucent Beams. You can cast them for last hits, you can cast them for harassing. Like right now I think I'm going to cast a Lucent Beam on the Pudge very soon here, because he came up a little bit. He did have 2 salves I believe and a tango, but forcing him to use a tango or 2 is fine because my mana's full, so I might as well be using my regen here to get his using my Basilius, basically let it trickle in my mana pool is what I wanted to do. And I used another one there. That one was maybe not worth it, but I think it ended up being okay. Anyways, I'm going for an Aquila this game. In the past, when I used to play Luna, I would too often go for way too many stat builds. I love the gank that the Lich did here. This was really well done by him. Ooh, I accidentally attacked her creep here. That was a good ulti from the Lich. I think that was really worth it. It guaranteed the kill, and the other cool part is that it also got him like 3 CS, which you could argue is bad for me, but over the course of the game, I think that's just fine for him picking up that kill. Our lane ended up going really well. There's some fighting going on there. I was thinking about TPing because I could drop on Eclipse, but there's so many heroes that it's kind of dangerous. So if you haven't figured out yet, Lucent Beam does 300 damage. It's a 6-second cooldown. It's very spammable. It is a 0.6 second stun, which is about the equivalent animation that it takes to cast it, somewhere around there. So if you attack, whenever you cast Lucent Beam, generally if you want to do max damage when chasing somebody, you attack Lucent Beam attack is the best way to do it. Or use it to mini-stun somebody to prevent them from escaping as your ally comes into range. So as the Lich started approaching, I threw the stun to guarantee that the Lich was able to get the slow off, for example. Moonglaive bounces, does 500 radius. It's very, very good later in the game when you have a lot of damage. Right now it doesn't do that much damage. I mean, I'm only doing about 30 damage to the creep it bounces to, but it's okay. It's really a farming tool, and it's used later to accelerate your farm in a really good way. And that's why it is important to put skill points into it. Lunar Blessing scales between 14 and 38 damage, which doesn't scale amazing. I was considering shifting over for this one, but he had a haste rune, so didn't really seem worth it. But you shouldn't be afraid on Luna to shift over and potentially help out in ganks and teamfights and all that good stuff. Sometimes it is useful, and now it seemed like the fight was definitely going to happen. At least Bounty could probably bring them over to me. And I thought I could snipe them from up here, and I was able to. So not only do I get a kill there, but I also get track gold, and Bounty gets some advantage from it as well. So I lose a little CS from it, but it's not that bad. My CS is low here for this game. I've got 38 at 9.5 minutes. If you're free farm, you should have more like 50 right now. Especially on Luna, because her animation is kind of crappy, but her bonus damage from Lunar Blessing is so good that you should have enough base damage to get all the last hits, even under tower if you're good. So, yeah, if I didn't have a level of Moonglaive here, I'd usually, like a lot of games, I'll go 4-0-2 by level 7 to have 2 levels of Lunar Blessing, which is a really good bonus. It's not bad scaling, 14 to 22 is good, but again, the important part is getting Moonglaive maxed out as soon as possible while still having Lucent Beams. If you want to be stupid in your games, yeah, you can max out Moonglaive first and have a big farm rate, but it's frankly not worth it. And I'm just waiting here until Bounty can get in range, and I'm going to attack and Lucent Beam and guarantee the kill. So my team has done a really good job at ganking for me so far this game, and it's helping out a lot because that's going to finish my Helm of the Dominator. The large camp is killed, so I'm going to have to wait for it to respawn, but now I've got the important part is armor. This also gives you HP regen. In the past it did not, so you could argue maybe delaying the upgrade wasn't worth it, or was worth it. But now that it gives you HP regen, and it gives you the lifesteal, and it gives you the armor. So at this point my armor is really high, my damage is good, I can jungle endlessly, I've got 3 levels in bounce, so I can actually farm pretty well. And I'm just going to wait for the large camp to respawn, and then I should be able to use a creep to go begin my stacking and to also start my farm. Usually you just grab the biggest creep. The Wildkin is fine, gives you 3 armor and an aura, which will be useful when you end up clearing the stacks. Troll is a hero I have to be slightly worried about, because if he does get on top of me, he's going to be doing a lot of damage. And he'll blind me as well, which means I'm going to be missing. So that's kind of scary. I think he just got his Helm of the Dominator and a Yasha. So he's got a Yasha and a Helm, so he has a little bit more farm than me if we check the net worth. Oh, my net worth's actually higher, but that's because I have a Treads and I have an Aquila. Aquila is about 1,000 and Treads is another 950, so I have about the same net worth as him, so I guess things are just fine. I'm scared to go in the jungle though, because I know that he's over there. There's some action going on mid that I maybe could have teleported to. And I was honestly very concerned that Troll would be coming to gank me right here, because I knew he was in the jungle. So, and there he is. He is actually coming for me. I'm just going to move away from the creeps. That way if he fights me, I can use my ulti. And for some reason, he walked straight into an Eclipse, and that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. So that was pretty stupid. It seems like something that I would do, be like, oh, I just won't think about my opponent's abilities, and they cast Eclipse and you die. And look at that, level 10 now. I've got 4 levels in Glaives. It's going to bounce up to 6 times. It's going to be good in teamfights. It's going to be good in ganks and all that good stuff. I completely messed up the last hit here. I was thinking about something else at the time, and I completely missed that one. That was terrible. You really shouldn't miss last hits. It's honestly not acceptable as a carry. Look how much that bounces. It's beautiful. You can't miss last hits on towers like that, because it's like 250 gold. That's equivalent to missing a gank, and if there's nobody contesting it, there's nothing to say that you shouldn't be getting that last hit, especially when I have all this bonus damage. I was hoping to find somebody that was standing over here, and it wasn't Earth Spirit. This is pretty scary, because if Earth Spirit punched me to the low ground, I was 100% dead, and I also have to worry a little bit about getting hooked. This is really... I'm ready to buy here, so that in case I die. I bought an ultimate orb. And luckily, again, Luna is stupidly fast, and when I'm close to a troll warlord to his track, then I run extra fast. So getting away from him wasn't the worst. And I can use a tango here, and I should be able to just jungle to heal up. I did miss a stack here, but I ended up being okay. So now I'll just jungle for a bit, completely fine to do this. Again, I have all these glaive levels, which will make farming pretty fast. I probably should have bought a Yasha over an ultimate orb. I think that was a mistake. The attack speed that you get from a Yasha is actually pretty high. I think it's around 30%, whereas an ultimate orb only gives you 10. It does give you the HP, of course, but Yasha as a whole is a much more efficient item for what it gives, especially if I'm just looking to DPS. So the HP that it was basically just a panic buy. I was like, oh, I want to buy a Manta, ultimate orb. That makes sense. I've got about 2,000 gold. I'm going to have almost enough money. But I should have just bought the Yasha, not only because it's better, but also because I actually had the money the whole time. Yasha's only 2050. So with the Helm of the Dominator, I take control of a creep, and then at every 53 seconds, I run my creep into the Ancients, and I run it to the left. And that's just going to sit there all game until I'm ready to go clear that. So what I'm essentially doing is making it so when I do eventually farm the Ancients, that it's really efficient to do so. I've got a lot of bounces. I have lifesteal, which is absolutely important to be able to do Ancients. And I will be able to take that, and when I do, I can farm it for longer, and it'll give me more gold as I do that. So I'll farm my 2 jungle camps, I'll come back to the lane and push things. I'm keeping an eye on mid. If there is a mid fight, I can teleport to that. I don't quite have Eclipse, but when I do, we can definitely go for another fight later. But the most important thing to me right now is just getting last hits. So I'm going to continue last hitting. And I do kind of want to continue pressuring the tier 2 bottom, or the tier 2 top, but it's a little scary to do so. And again, I'm looking to see if I need to TP. They are winning fights though, which should allow me to continue farming. And I want to pressure this tower, but it's honestly scary because the heroes they have like Earth Spirit, for example, can just jump on top of me, and in a lot of cases it's going to result in me just dying. I wasn't focusing that much on guaranteeing my last hits here. The important part as well is that your creep is moving away from them at 53. You don't necessarily want to walk them into range at 53. Especially if you have a melee creep, that's the case, because when you have a melee creep, if the ranged units are doing animations, they're going to stand still in the spot, and you want them to retreat. You want them to start following you at 53, not aggro to you at 53. So with a melee, make sure that you walk in a little bit early and you start your escape, your walk away at 53. You want those range creeps to stop their animation almost immediately. And now what I'm doing is TPing the bot lane. Top lane is pretty much farmed out, so I'll just TP bottom. I'll get these last hits, and then I can start my Ancient camp as I stack it one more time. I'll take one more creep wave, and then I'll back off and do Ancients. So right now my movements are pretty efficient. My GPM's really high, I'm sure. The GPM on Troll is actually really good as well, but my net worth is a lot higher, probably because I've been tanking neutral camps, I think. And I have a ton of kills. 5, 0, and 3 is actually the main issue. So my team's doing a really good job without me. I'll buy a Band of Elven skin here because I'm going to use it to build the Yasha anyways. And it'll slightly increase my damage output, and there will be the final stack. Not quite sure if this stack worked, but it looked pretty decent. I think it did. I think there was an extra golem here. So the reason the Wildkin's okay in this case is because I get an extra 3 armor. I could have been a little safer about moving in and out, but mostly I just focused on auto-attacking. I felt kind of lazy here, and I probably should have played it a little bit more in and out to guarantee that I didn't take so much damage. And they're all kind of fighting here, which is good, which makes me realize that they're not going to be coming for me. You want to kill the large golems if you can, but since I'm an AoE hero and I'm kind of short range, I can't really control that very well. If you kill the large golems have the 15% HP aura, which basically makes all the creeps take 15% more damage, which makes ancient killing a little bit harder. But yeah, I took way too much damage here when I did this, which was a mistake. It's really the most dangerous reason, of course, is because if they do end up coming to gank me, then my HP is a lot lower and my chances of surviving are very low. But it quite looked like they didn't have vision of me and they weren't paying attention to it, so I kind of got away a little bit with murder. And now the camp's completely done. Before that started, I don't remember how much gold I got, but if that was like a 6 stack, I think each stack has about 300 gold or something. So I got about 1,800 gold from farming that. I'm going to lose my my Wildkin here. Now he's going to give up on it. So I definitely want to fight mid here. I'm going to get back and heal really quick. The reason Manta is a really good item on Luna is because the illusions get the glaive bounces. And you don't have to get BKB first. In pro games, you kind of do. I think BKB first is in a lot of ways required, but you don't have to get it in a pub game, definitely. Got 5 heroes in the mid lane. I think I TP'd to the tier 2 tower, which is actually a mistake. There's a pretty big cooldown there. If I'd have TP'd to tier 1, we would have gotten the fight off a bit better. But I did get EMP'd here, but I wasn't that concerned about it. Just coming into auto attack. I'm really happy to dive here. I've got Manta. I had Eclipse before I nuked there, but I'm really farmed right now, and if they're retreating like that, they don't have the best survivability kind of a thing. And we had already killed Purge, so it's basically them on the retreat. So I have a huge power curve right here. I haven't died yet, so my net worth is stupidly high compared to the rest of them. I basically have an item and a half over them. I do have to be a little bit concerned about a line, because he can chain stun me and blow me up, but because my farm is so much higher than my opponent's as a result of my skill level being better than theirs, this was really weird. That was a really weird play by Pudge. I guess he just didn't expect us to continue or something. My Wildkin's now healed them and send it back to the Ancients. I should have been continuing to stack. I was a little bit absent-minded there. And we had a bit of a disconnect from Earth Spirit. This is pretty weird. But we have a stupid gold advantage at this point. And that's mostly because we outlane the dual lane. And that's important to remember. You guys might be able to replicate the stuff that I do in terms of farming here, but the distinction was that we wrecked our dual lane. Barely. It was very close, and it could have gone completely a different way, and it would have made my game a lot harder because the pressure from Pudge and all of those other ganking heroes would have been a lot more severe. But it's important that you win your dual lanes first and foremost. And because we won our dual lanes, it gave me an extra gold advantage, which helped me farm. So it's very important that you win your dual lanes. That's the best way to win dual lanes. That's the easiest way. A lot of people ask that. They're like, oh, what do I do in my dual lanes? I can't farm as much as you can in the games that you play. Well, the reason that people don't do dual lanes at high level is because they get countered or they get outplayed, like what just happened. I mean, obviously this is an unranked game, so it's not the exact same thing, but if you dual lane and things go badly, you get wrecked that game usually, because then you're losing out of like 2/5 of your heroes farm and stuff like that. And then I get gold, I get a lot of hero kills, and I get gold from farming. So it becomes pretty scary. We actually didn't pause through this Earth Spirit. I assumed that he rage quit. He eventually did come back, so I felt a little guilty about it, but now I'm buying a BKB next just to play it really safe. If I get hooked, or if I get hooked into like a lion stun or a dismember, I'm pretty much going to die, so it's pretty good to get BKB on this hero. I was going to go check for stacks here. They actually didn't stack, which was very peculiar. The troll did have a Helm of the Dominator, and that hero can take Ancients. It's a little hard because he has to do it by ranged, but if you get a Helm of the Dominator, there's no reason not to have your creep running around or for you to go for stacks and things like that. I think you should always do that. Looks like Wind Ranger was doing Roshan here. But yeah, Aegis is really good to get, but BKB is the best. Aegis and BKB is kind of what you need on Luna. Luna's basically a teamfight pushing carry. She's good at being the crux of your push. He even let me take the Aegis, so that was pretty cool. And I also got last hit on Roshan, and I've got a BKB coming. So I'm really farmed here. This is stupidly farmed. I have 1300 or 13k net worth. My last hits aren't amazing, but my GPM is up to 656. That's from team fights and ganks and all this good stuff. Just run away from the EMP.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
But once I get BKB, it basically allows me to just pop BKB and run into the middle of them with Eclipse. If you don't have that option, then things get a little bit scarier. A lot of the times you'll end up feeding with Luna due to her low HP. She can get bursted down pretty fast. But one thing I didn't do enough this game, I think, was use my Manta to go split farm. I mean, I'm partially excused because I still haven't gone back to base since once I got EMP'd, so my mana's a lot lower than it normally is. But
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I thought he would go invis there for some reason, but instead he opted for the range nuke, and we didn't end up killing him.
Dire's courier has been killed.
I don't know where our courier died, but died somewhere. Oh yeah, I think I was mentioning this earlier. When I used to play Luna, I wasn't quite sure what builds to go. I'd go like Treads, Drum. This is a pretty old build, but I don't think it's really recommended anymore. Getting an Aquila is very similar in in effectiveness. An Aquila gives you a Wraith Band basically to add to your Basilius that you probably buy, and it makes up for your lower mana. In the past, people would go drums, they would go drums, treads into BKB, but I think Aquila is the better item because it allows you to push towers and stuff like that, and it still gives you a decent HP boost. It's not massive, it's 60 HP or 57 HP, but it's definitely useful. So I'll continue with the life gain. I'm going to continue farming the map. Illusion Runes are really good on this hero, especially because Illusion Runes last so long. They last for 70 seconds. Manta lasts for like 30 something, if I'm not mistaken. 20 seconds actually, really low. So the Illusion Runes illusions last for a stupidly long time, and you can just use them to farm, which is what I started doing here a bit. I was like, my mana's good enough. I can actually spread and farm a bit. You really don't need to get a Midas on this here, though. It's not needed. You actually do so much damage already that it's completely irrelevant to get one. You farm really fast. You just need levels, kind of. So you could maybe argue that you need it for the levels, because the levels get you the level 4 glaives. But if you do the build that I did, and you get glaives at level 10, at least in pub games, it's the way to go. You can get your farm up really fast. The only thing that's really scary about Luna is, again, she's squishy, so if your opponents have an advantage over you, you have to worry about getting killed a lot. And they actually have great heroes for that. Pudge, Earth Spirit, Lion, Invoker, those heroes can all gank me quite easily if they have a gold advantage. But because they didn't have a gold advantage, them ganking me is almost impossible, because if I get silenced by an Orchid from Invoker when he's ganking me, I can just Manta out of it and pop my ulti if I really want to. I have a lot more options against them than they would like at this point, due to me outlaning them. So solution number 1 for dual lanes is get good, basically. Outlane them, that's one of your options. And that's the main one that most players have trouble with. They die when they shouldn't, they don't see kill opportunities that they should be seeing, things like that. And the easiest way to get good at that stuff is just to play a lot. Unfortunately, there isn't like a way to instantly get better. And by play a lot, what I mean is better understand what it takes to get kills, and when you have kill opportunities. And a lot of the times, I think it's fine just to play aggressive and do stupid things in your lower level games to understand what the strengths of your heroes are. Because when you really understand the strength of your hero, you can do really good things. And you can push and take kills that maybe you weren't expecting to. That lane has been pushed a bit. We're pretty much ready to fight here, especially with Pudge being dead. I didn't really want to BKB this. I could have BKB'd that to reduce the armor loss, but... This is a new Earth Spirit player, as you guys can tell. He randomed this game. If I had another nuke, I could have slowed him there, but...
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And I'm fine taking damage here. I've got Aegis. And it's probably almost up anyways, so... I'm sure this track would really help my GPM a lot as well.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle barracks has fallen.
That was a mistake. I tried to level up, and I accidentally pressed. So my level up key is 6, and I accidentally pressed 5, which is my BKB hotkey. It's my hotkey for right here.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
This is definitely the point of the game where I can trade hits with the Pudge successfully.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
So the secret to playing really well in Luna, at least in pub games, is just to farm really well.
Top tower has fallen.
If you just farm really well in the hero, you can do amazing things.
Dire's bottom
You get a
tower
stupid gold advantage, and from there you just right click like crazy. It's a little different than a more snowball-y carry like Phantom Assassin, for example. Luna can just farm faster, and all she needs is skill points to do it. You get teamfight items so that you can win team fights when the team fights come, and then you get just DPS items. I'm sorry, you get farming skills. Excuse me, farming skills and teamfight items is what you focus on, and then from there you just you're the crux of your team fights push, your team's push, and then you should be able to take a lot of nukes. I know this game was pretty one-sided, but I really felt like it was a good example not only of being aggressively dual laned, something that most people have trouble with. So not only the issue that most people have of getting aggressively dual lane, but also by farming really fast. I had a huge mana problem this game due to the EMP. I wasn't fully able to use all my spells. I wanted to be able to use, you know, Manta style, all that good stuff. It's just kind of tough. But I have Butterfly now, so I do pretty good damage, as you can see. I got a lot of bounces from the Moon Wells as well, so things work out. But that's pretty much the standard build. After I got Butterfly, I would have made Satanic, and then after Satanic, probably a Skadi instead of my Aquila. Skadi would give me even more HP, even more damage, and most importantly, it'd give me a slow, which would be really good with Skadi and Butterfly and all that good stuff. So that's definitely my item build. You can definitely get Daedalus or an MKB if needed, but usually after the Butterfly. Or I could have gotten instead of the Butterfly, honestly. If I needed to shut down a carry like Troll, if Troll wasn't behind, I could have done it. And again, I know this game was really stompy, but unfortunately that's the game we got, and I shut down the aggressive dual lane and I farmed really fast. And I showed you guys how to do that using Helm of the Dominator. The same principles pretty much apply to any Helm of the Dominator hero. This game was in a lot of ways indistinguishable from a Drow Ranger game. You sit in your lane, you win your lane if possible, you get a Helm of the Dominator, you stack, except Drow mostly builds Mask of Madness right now, but in the past she would go Dominator. So if you do end up getting a Helm of the Dominator and a Helm of the Dominator carry, you can stack, and that's the only way to make Helm of the Dominator better than Mask of Madness. Because if you get Mask of Madness, you farm really fast because of the Mask of Madness. The downside is you can't really use it in fights as safely. If you get Helm of the Dominator, you can use it in fights safely, and you make up for that lack of gold gain out of the jungle with Mask of Madness by getting the Ancients by stacking. So if you opt for the Helm of the Dominator, you have to stack. It's like the lazy option to go Helm of the Dominator over the Mask of Madness if you don't stack, like what the Troll did. That guy should have been stacking Ancients. I mean, if they're behind, there's a high chance that I would have stolen them, which is what I wanted to do, but if they would have stacked Ancients and somehow been able to use that on Troll to catch up, then things would have gone well. But the main issue is that their Earth Spirit was bad, I think. That he hadn't played the hero very often. That's like what it looks like when I play Earth Spirit. So anyways, that's the end of the game. That's a Luna game, and I haven't made one forever, but now you guys should know how to play Luna. I think that skill build is really important, and then make sure that you win your lanes if possible, because if you get behind, your opponents are going to gank you a lot, and then things get really hard on a Luna, because if you're behind on items and people can jump on top of you as Storm or Invis when you don't have a BKB, you're just going to have a rough time. So good luck on your Luna games, and I will see you guys tomorrow. I'll probably try to stream tomorrow, so I haven't streamed much this week. It's because I was finishing the guide, which is almost done, and point number 2 was that I casted 2 days. So I think in the future I'm going to cast only 1 day because it's kind of cutting into my schedule too much and it's preventing me from fulfilling YouTube stuff as well. And either way, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching, and bye until tomorrow.